game phase.
Hello, and welcome to a pre-Play Expo Blackpool 2023 stream. Now, it's been announced that I will be on one of the guest panels at Play Expo this coming weekend, and I thought I'd combine some MAME news with a look at some of the arcade games that you can expect to see at Play Expo Blackpool, because it's done at the Norbreck Castle Hotel in Blackpool, and they have a big main room, and that is filled with old computers, old consoles, and a bunch of arcade machines. And they did announce the list of the arcade machines they've got on social media. So I've taken that list, and after looking at some main news, we will go through one or two of them. Well, probably more than one or two of them, in fact. We'll go through a whole bunch of the games that we can expect to see at Play Expo Blackpool. So, yes, let's have a look at who's in the chat. We've got Aussie Guy, early joiner as always. So welcome, Aussie Guy. We've got Tilanus as well. Welcome, Tilanus. And we've got Thomas Pedersen. So again, a couple of the regulars here. Good to see you all. And we've got the Leviathan Eternal as well. So welcome to you all. Now, as I said, I will be starting with some MAME news. So let me turn the volume back up on the game a little bit now the intro's over. So if there are any issues with the volume, just let me know, because I've done a little bit of rejigging on this PC and things. This is still the new system. So let's change the view to the vertical view. Now, why am I looking at Thunder Dragon or these NMK games? Well, that's because there's been some worthwhile progress with them. There's some of the earliest games I worked on in MAME, decrypting the graphics, things like that, this NMK driver. Not necessarily Thunder Dragon in that case, but the NMK driver in general. And there's always been some ugly protection simulations for some of the games, because they're undumped MCUs and things like that, which provided code for one version of Thunder Dragon and for a few of the other games that we'll look at in a bit. Now, thanks to Sergio Galliano and Recreatios Pisces, we have now got those MCUs dumped. So they're TLCS 90 series Toshiba MCUs, and the internal code from them has now been dumped. And hooking up wasn't actually too difficult once they worked out what was going on. They share the full bus with the 68K processor, so they can see and do everything the 68K can do, and they sit there putting some code into RAM and reading the inputs and passing those to the 68K. Now, the reason the simulations didn't work before too well is because all the subroutines were guessed. We had to guess where they wanted to jump, and also the MCU manages the initialization sequence with the other MCU, the NMK004 sound CPU, the sound MCU. So without the this MCU emulated, it wasn't sending the commands to start up the sound CPU properly. So with the MCU emulated, everything just kind of works, which is exactly what you want to happen. So Aussie Guy already has the fact for us here that Slash Metal was a working title, and they renamed it to Cashin on Raiden, because Rai translates to thunder and Raiden translates to lightning. So yeah, I guess that makes sense. They were just trying to cash in on Raiden, weren't they? So in fact, if you take a look in the ROM, as we found out, the original Slash Metal logo is there. It's a little bit offset, but you see you've got American flag there, very American branded. And you'll notice the lives counter in the actual game is too, I believe. Is it the lives? One of the ones in the corner still has American flags. So it was originally going to be a much more American branded game, I think. What does the text say there? The United Nations Emergency Hardest something strategic weapons. Hardest strategic weapons? Something like that. So yeah, that was going to be the original title for Thunder Dragon, but they, according to Aussie Guy, they did rename it at the last minute. Now, the reason that came up in discussion is because when we looked at the MCU dump, there's a little header in it where it's got details about the game and the date and things like that, and it says Slash Meta. And like, what's Slash Meta? Why does the MCU say Slash Meta? Is this 1110 correct for this game? Well, it was, because it came from the Thunder Dragon board. So we knew it was, but it's like, why has it got this name in? So a few people did a bit of digging, and yeah, it was previously called Slash Metal, the game. And so the MCU had obviously been developed and finalised at the point when it's probably still called Slash Metal. Yeah, you can see the count at the top, the live counters. They've still got the American flag up there. Now, this is a pretty good NMK shooter, actually. It's fairly by the book, but it's got well-animated explosions. You're doing, you're flying this helicopter around, and yeah, played really well actually. It's one of those that probably overlooked a little bit, although it did get a sequel, Thunder Dragon 2, aka Big Bang. There's one where we've got 2 different versions of it. But it's from a time when shoot 'em ups were fairly popular. Say, Raiden was just hitting the scene, and Raiden sort of reinvented how shoot 'em ups and the power-up systems work. And NK put this one out, and yeah, it's a pretty good effort, I'd say. It feels satisfying to play, and also, look at that nice big explosion. It's one that Comad bootlegged as Air Attack and SS Mission. They made 2 bootlegs of it using different names, and also the game itself had a fair few bootlegs, including I think ones using the smooth sound system, stolen sounds from the likes of Raiden, because for a long time the sound MCUs on these wasn't dumped, and obviously back in the day the bootleggers didn't know how to dump them either, so they had to find workarounds. You can see you've got a decent amount of firepower. The bullets are nice and big, and they flash colours. You can see where they are, which is a nice touch. I mean, one thing that's really bad in the shoot 'em up is if you can't see the bullets. And that is never a problem. I mean, they can still be difficult to avoid if you don't know where they're going to appear from, but like that. But they're easy enough to see. And that is all pulling apart for me. That is always a plus with a shoot 'em up. Anyway, so yeah, I've not tested this extensively after the MCU was hooked up, but due to the way the MCU kind of just worked when it got hooked up and did exactly what we thought it would do, I'm fairly confident it's not going to cause any major issues or any issues in fact at all. It's going to, I believe, make the games run a lot better than they did before, and I will be testing it more over the coming days. When I'm not at Play Expo Blackpool, I'm not taking it with me. So, now this isn't a game they've got to Play Expo Blackpool. I'm just showing this one because it's main news related. There's been a fair bit of good news at the moment as far as this kind of thing goes. A few other very rare things being added and dumped recently that we're also looking at. I thought I'd start with this one. There we go, maximum power from the fairy thing there when I died. I didn't last long. I'm not very good at shooting ups, especially not ones I've not played in a while. I've been slowly learning, but there's only the 2 different types of weapon in this one, and I think it just worked like Raiden, where these shots they have to keep breaking. Oh, no, it says 4, so there were more. What? I'm thinking there were more than 2 different types of weapons. They just introduced them all at the start. No. Fine. At the time there were only 2. Now apparently there are 4 types of weapons. So yeah, obviously in the first stage it doesn't seem to give you these other weapons. Now your hitbox in this is actually really quite massive. So this is one thing you have to be careful of. Yeah, these ones, let's see, these power-ups only cycle between 1 and 2. The other ones are the 3 and 4 ones, which is, I guess, trying to encourage you to go back to these weapons. Yeah, you have to do wide dodge on the bullets. You can't sneak through little gaps on this game. Your hitbox is on the larger sides, let's just say. But this was pre-bullet hell. Despite the number of bullets you see on the screen, this is not a bullet hell game. So know where you can and can't go, and don't just, go straight to the bullets. It takes a little bit of getting used to it if you're more accustomed to the bullet hells and the tiny hitboxes where you can easily read them out. I'm not sure exactly where the hitbox is on this chopper. Seems to be near the front, so maybe your tail's okay. Yeah, Taito released Twin Cobra, Red Copeland, Shura Blaster, and Tecmo released Raiden. Thunder Dragon was from NMK. It was a busy period for shooting ups, as Ozzy Guy points out. The early 90s. I think NMK got a very respectable entry here, actually. Doesn't get talked about maybe as much as, say, some of the Copeland games, which is surprising. Yeah, I'd say NMK at the best, without games equal to the Copeland games. This is good shooter. The sequel is a really good shooter, and one of the other ones we'll look at shortly is too. Yeah, I'm not doing the rest here. So, I do want some threes. Yeah, I want some threes. There we go. I've got the this lazy weapon now. Pilots do eventually drift off the screen, so you're not forced to pick them if you don't want them. But, YouTube decided not to refresh. It might do that. YouTube seemed to have made some changes under the hood as well. When I was setting up the stream, it was like, do you want advertising here? Do you want advertising here? Are you sure you don't want advertising mid-frame or mid-stream automatic advertising? It's like, no, I'm fine. I'm fine. I'll just leave the adverts on for anybody on catch-up, because then they have the choice to block them or not. I don't want to be giving everybody watching it adverts. Anyway, I am getting worse at this game. But it does play pretty well. And I think, yeah, the most notable thing for me is just how well animated these explosions are. Sometimes you see explosions that look very much like explosions in other games, and the number of games with explosions that look like Metal Slug is quite ridiculous. Whereas these NMK games, they have their own look when it comes to things going boom, satisfyingly so. Yeah, Air Assault and SS Mission of this game reskinned and with extra bugs. I mean, I don't know why Comad decided to go do it twice, although then again Comad did Gauss Panic how many times? So maybe it makes sense that Comad did it twice. But yeah, I'm just credit feeding at the moment. I don't stand a chance on these games without any practice and knowledge of what's to come. You get to see big explosions, I'm sure that's good enough. I should just give up now. Oh dear. There will be some shoot 'em ups at Play Expo, of course. I believe R-Type Leo is going to be there again, which we may look at in a bit. That's not one you see all that often. So when I saw they had R-Type Leo previous years, I was quite excited to give that a try and give it a play. I quite like R-Type Leo. Maybe not the most popular in the series. Where is your hitbox? I'm pretty sure it's near the top of your ship, and you can dodge. Well, you can try and dodge, and catch into your tail safely, I believe. But it's so the bullets will go straight through your tail. So your hitbox is really just the front of your ship. It just makes your ship look a lot bigger than it is, and it's still a big hitbox compared to a bullet hell gun. So you can safely dodge through those, but not that. You have every known kind of PCP. We've still not found an actual hell out, have we? We've only got Super Duck. There's probably still some to find. Who knows if there are other Comad games we have just never heard of. No, good to see you in the chat anyway, System 11, because there's some of the news we'll be looking at shortly is very much to do with you. Some of your boards were dumped, I believe. And very silly ones, which may get the stream muted on replays. But we'll see. And kept an eye out. Yeah, I mean, I guess it's hard to know if it's actually released or not. You can never tell for sure from just advertising. Anyway, Thunder Dragon, yeah, the protector set works now. You can play it, it boosts with sound, all the protection's handled properly. It's got this funky keyboard style. That's gone through. And yeah, that's to me this is one of those complete circle type of things, because I was looking through the NMK driver and I saw comments from the 20th of July 20th of July 2000, 23 years ago, which is when I did the decryption for things like Macross and Bombjet Web and things like that. So it's one of the earlier drivers I worked on, and these messy protection simulations in the driver did annoy me, especially because they didn't quite work properly. There is still a messy protection simulation for what's it called? Task Force Harrier, but that's a different type of MCU that will need different handling. They seem to have some Mitsubutsu? Not. I can't remember who made the other ones. Not Mitsubutsu. That sounds like Mitsubutsu. Something like that. Mit something. Anyway, the other game, Task Force Harrier, is a different type of MCU. As are the Jalico NMK Mahjong games, and probably the Jalico Mega System 1 games, unfortunately. Although some of the Jalico Mega System 1 games might be the TLCS 90. We will have to find that out. The guy who dumped these said he's going to look at the MCU on a big striker because it looks more like a TLCS 90 than it does one of the others. So it's possible the later Mega System 1 games were this type of MCU. We'll find out. Yeah, a German SBL set was found recently. I don't think I played much of SBL. In terms of different language sets, we will be looking at something shortly. What's it got? Not that one though. Let's switch now to. Well, this one may be muted on playback. Let's just say that much. Hopefully I don't have to just trim the whole segment out, but we will see. I may have to, because you know what Korean games are like. They tend to use content they weren't meant to use, and I don't think this is any exception. So, this is Let's Dance. So, what is Let's Dance? Well, it is a Korean DDR clone. And this is one of System 11's board, I believe. So, what does it have in it? Let's go easy. So, we have Liar. It's a fine day. Wonky tonight. Nonsense. This game is nonsense. Come back to me. And Way to the Stars. So let's just do Way to the Stars. Now, this has some of the most distracting background animations ever. So, you know, just trying to put you off. Also, it's quite sensitive to when you press the button. But, yes, these were dumped, and thanks to Windy Fairy, the sound emulation was debugged a little bit, which means all these DG-Pick games now have better audio emulation. Not perfect, but more recognisable than it was before. Now, these were marked as working in the previous release, even though the music didn't work in the previous release. They will be marked as not working in the next release, which is confusing, but they do actually work better in the next release than they do in the release where they were marked as working, because, yeah, whatever. But look at these backgrounds. Look at this nonsense. Complete and utter nonsense. But I'm just going to keep talking over because it, apparently, you know, you're commenting on things. It's better than just trying to play videos because, you know, I am commenting on it. I'm commenting on how utterly ridiculous it is and questioning why this exists. But I'm really glad it does because there are quite a lot of Korean music games, it would seem, that just aren't dumped. I was looking it up earlier. There's a Lamenko one called Ecto X or something. There's a Eolith one, a very generic name, and they've just never been found. So having, you know, 2 DG-Picks music games is actually really good. I do hope the other games show up at some point, but who knows? I think you know, most places just wanted proper DDR games. So yes, Way to the Stars. Suggestion, what do you think of correcting the non-working ROMs in alphabetical order? I mean, it's not that easy, Andre. Everything's a different challenge. I mean, there's some stuff that simply can't be corrected without fresh dumps. There's some stuff, you know, that is just ridiculously hard. There's some stuff that's really easy. You can't really try and fix things in alphabetical order. Yeah, the background is really distracting. Anyway, I think we've seen enough of that one because, say, that is, if I'm going to have to trim any segment out of this later, it will be that segment. But let's go for let's stay on horizontal. So one of the other NMK games that now works properly due to the Chichiwa TMP 91640, it's the TLCS 90 series Toshiba MCU being dumped, is Double Dealer. Lady stripping off. Yeah, I mean, Phil's done a really good job of dumping them, and I don't really blame you for not really being that keen to jump on them with all the surface mount stuff. But it's nice to see them now. I think there's still one or two other games you've got that aren't dumped yet. I seem to remember there was something with a baby. I've no idea now. I'd have to go through your site and try and remember. But yeah, so NMK again. Now this one had an even rougher simulation than any of the others. The scoring didn't work properly. It was stuck in free play mode. There were all sorts of problems with this one. In fact, it probably should never have been marked as working in MAME. But again, with the MCU hooked up, it kind of just works. It's a sequel to Gun Dealer, which is an odd one because it seems to be just as much a Do Young game as it's an NMK game, and Do Young to the sequel Gun Dealer 94. But this one's by NMK on an NMK style board. So we're calling it up. You still get the girls, but they don't strip when girls strip when it's turned off. Now I am terrible at this game, I will tell you that much. So 7, 8, 9. That's a good combination to get. That gives you 100 points. 10. Yeah, that now, you know, 5, 8. Let's put a king up there. I don't really need an 8 there. Let's put. Oh, I should have just put that king back. See, this is where I struggle because yeah, you have to try and remember all your card matching, all your sequences, and stack things in the right place. And it gets a little bit much at times. And if you just match 3 symbols in that, it's just 10 points, which is kind of useless. So yes, but so we really want a jack, so that jack being king. At some point though, you just start to panic and start clearing stuff out much more quickly. That was better than I was expecting. And you're also meant to be trying to create chains and stack stuff. No, that's wrong. Another king there. No. Yeah, it starts to actually get too tricky. I don't think the queen's going to be much good there, but now the problem is you have to get a high score. You have to get a good score. Because if you don't get a good score, then you may as well not try to get any matches at all. That gets to do the hearts, I believe. But again, you have to use that strategically, and I'm not. Also, the music tempo was being changed in this. I don't know if it's correct, but previously the music tempo was set to run into a frequency so fast. It also caused the game to slow down. So yeah, you see, I've almost given up actually trying to create any proper chains at this point, which is not great. You've got that Joker card. Now, you lose points for everything that's left on the board. So, you know, I've got 1,300 points, and I've lost 1,600 points lost 1,600 points for having too many cards left over. This sounds right, does it? Good. I'm glad. I mean, I set the frequency to 60 Hz, which seems like, you know, a fairly reasonable guess. I don't know if aces count as high in this as well as the low, or only the low. But yeah, without cheats, I struggle to get anywhere in this game. So that's only 10 points. You need sequences or pairs, you know, 3 of a kind to actually score anything worth scoring. It's a very tricky game, at least to me. I like puzzle games, but I do struggle a lot with this one. So you can change the order you get your pieces in. Let's put some queens down. Put another 4 there. Put some jacks. King. So no, that was matched for the. I got my matches all wrong. See, I'm scoring badly. I know what I'm meant to be doing. I'm just not good enough at working out this puzzle quickly enough. So I can put 2 kings. I can't put 2 kings down because that. Yeah. This is not a game I will be going back to play in my own time. It's a game I found incredibly frustrating. Okay, I'm glad it works now, because again this is a driver I worked on and just gave up on because, well, the protection is too annoying. No, it requires you to think quickly, and there's, you know, in fact you only get 10 points for the most basic match, and then the penalty for any cards left over is so steep, it makes it a really tricky game to even get past the first level, unless you play well. I mean, I've done it before, but again, you know, I'm going to lose every point I've got because I've left those cards out. I finished with 0 points. It is a punishing game, very punishing game. Now, correcting the audio frequency, as I said, does allow 2-player mode to function. Now, it does not slow down in 2-player mode. I can contemplate in 2-player mode any better than 1-player mode, fairly obviously. The 2-player mode does work. I checked the game to the end. The game seems endless. Once you complete all the different goals, it just loops back, but harder. Just gives you them all to unlock again. There's no new goals after those first 4. So I think this was a fairly low budget effort for NMK, but it's nice to have it working. Yeah, we'll just kill both those up here. Obviously, these must have been somewhat popular though, because say they did Gun Dealer 94, they've done this one, but yeah, it requires thinking in a way I'm not good at. It is quite an interesting game, yes, Don, and also welcome. Hey, Christian too. Welcome. Sorry, I've not been paying full attention to the chat here, so Christian and say Andre as well. I already read out your comment, and Don. So welcome to you all. Yeah, if you like puzzle games and can get your head around it. I mean, I don't even know how the coin thing works, because you do get big bonuses for those coins in the middle. So I'm assuming some specific things give you more coins. Maybe it's a time thing. I don't know. But yeah, they're worth about 100 each, so they can offset the penalty a bit if you get enough of them, but I don't know. And also, yeah, if you get your chains, like you get like double, quadruple, and then times 8 if you can get a chain. But setting up chains in this is not easy. But I scared maybe with practice you could work it out. But I do struggle a little bit with it. But it does now work. You can now play it, and it's a little bit different to your standard columns or pure, and so you can turn the stripping off. So it's family friendly enough. I mean, it's got a little bit like panty shot type material, but I mean, as plenty of other games do, they won't strip as long as that dip switch is appropriately configured. Another card game was dumped. Yeah, I've not tried that one. Aussie guy, I don't know the nature of that one. I think that's more of a, isn't that more of a poker style thing than well, maybe Hand of Food or something like that. I don't know. Nobody will ever hit those things. No, they're very difficult to get. But yeah, Double Dealer. So what shall we have a look at? Aussie guy did mention alt language sets. So let's have a look at an alt language set that was recently dumped. Let's turn off. What do you want? Standards. Gorf. Now, I do like a bit of Gorf. I have to say, I do like a bit of Gorf. And this French set was dumped. So, previously. I think there might have been a German set dumped, but there was not, as far as I remember, a French set dumped. So, Gorf in French, complete with French speech. I do like it when these talky games have localized speech. I love playing the localized versions of Berserk for that reason. So here you have another localized version of Gorf. Now, Gorf is say, I've talked about Gorf before. MAME's emulation of the colours aren't quite right. I mean, this background's meant to be much deeper blue than it is. Not quite sure how to fix that. Again, that's one of those tough problems that nobody's quite worked out. But, the game itself, yeah, it's a rip-off of many other games. Grew up in Metropolitan French, indeed. Oops, I got him shot. So, yeah, every round of this is just sort of imitation of something else. But it comes together so well, even though the programming, look, the ship jumps around badly there because the programming of the game is not good. But it still feels good to play. It shouldn't. Maybe the speech makes all the difference. But there's something about it. There's something that keeps me coming back to play Gorf. Even though objectively there shouldn't be. And the sound effects really work too. I think I like the sound effects more than a proper Galactian. The animations, the stars, they're very different. They twinkle more, but they don't move. But yes, I'd say I do really like it when these alternate versions turn up. We're for very specific regions. In this case, obviously, France, or maybe Canada, I'm not sure. So, probably France. I think this round is a little more original with the warp effect. They could have gone full, say, gyrus here and have you rotate around the screen, but they didn't. Am I dead already? I'm already dead. I'm already dead. A similar speech chip. I can't remember which one this was. It's the Votrax one. Votrax SCO1. I can't remember what Holland uses. I'm playing Frog backwards. They didn't rename it Frog in France, though, Mr. Fun Guy. Also, welcome, Mr. Fun Guy. Unless people in France called it Frog, I'm not sure. You can't even go to the edge there to shoot the ones at the edge. I don't know. It's not a game that should be as fun as it is. It is a French version of Gorf. The green aliens could be frogs, but not backwards. Ooh, I swear this set is harder than some of the other sets too. I don't remember Gorf raining bullets on me like this. I think the French just like their game versions hard. It's not apologetic enough to be Canadian. And no, it just like to insult you a bit, doesn't it? I seem to recall. Yeah. Obviously can't remember quite what it says. Pretty sure it's one of those games that uses its voice to taunt you. Which somehow you didn't do then. Yes. I'd like to play an original Gorf again. It's been a long time since I've seen one. I don't know. Maybe they're just not all that common anymore. Not as uncommon as, say, Jellico games. You never see Jellico games. Oh yeah, this is one of those games where you can put more coins in to get more lives, so you can choose to start with I think it's 3 or 6 lives, and they have separate high score tables, which is a bit of a different feature. I should have taken my hands off the controls there. So yeah, it separates the high score tables as well based on how many lives you start with, which is a good feature. It means that players who want to challenge other players who only have 3 lives can do so, and the 6 live option exists for people who want to put a bit more money in and get a longer game. Holland's a different chip than yeah. Yeah, this is the same chip as Qubit. Right, does it go? So this is quite a Phoenix-like level, blasting through. The other thing with Gorf is you can only have 1 shot on screen at a time. The second you put another shot up there, it cancels your existing shot, which means you can't just spam the pad and apply it goes like this, which is useless. So we're getting close. Yeah. Yes, ha 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 ha. I can tell you're taunting even in French. Ha 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 is universal. I glitched it. I think I've glitched it. There appears to be a fireball stuck on the screen. Is it still deadly? No. I told you the programming in this game is not really the best. Really slightly wonky. Ooh. You do like a bit of gore. Yes, I think everybody does enjoy a bit of gore. Yeah, this version is very much more aggressive than the other versions of Gorf, though. Look at it. I think French operators must have wanted the players off the machine pretty quickly. How long is that going to be stuck on the screen for? There we go. Now get a big flashy explosion. It's not quite the Death Star explosion, but it's still big and flashy. There we go. You have looped around. Now, I'm not going to put down that stuck sprite as a main issue. I'm sure that's just a game issue. I can't see a situation where that would be a main bug. Maybe this is an earlier revision of the game. Maybe that can happen on all revisions. I don't know. Maybe it's because this version is so aggressive and trying to put so many sprites on the screen. But once I die here, which will be soon, we will move on to another game. Ooh, that's 1 life down. It's ha ha ha. Oh well. That is me dead. There you go. There's your 3 lives and 6 lives score table. Got to mission 7. Yes, Gorf. I never noticed it was frog backwards until that was mentioned in chat. Anyway, fully translated, all the text, everything, so a proper job of the localization on that one. Right, what else? Yeah, we should have a look at the other NMK game, really, shouldn't we? That now has, well, a working protection emulation, and that is Hacha Mecha Fighter. A very strange game, if ever I saw one. The volume back up a little bit. Gorf tends to be a little bit loud, so I had to turn it down. Right. So this game, I would always recommend turning the Japanese dip switch on because it just makes the game that little bit quirkier than without it. So Japan mode for the win. Now, I've played this on stream quite recently, but when I played it on stream recently, I had to play the bootleg Thunder Dragon conversion because the original set did not run the sound and had a few logic bugs due to the protection not being emulated. The protection is now emulated. There are 2 protected sets of this. I don't know what the differences are. They both have the same date code, but we've already worked out that NMK date codes, in this case 19th of September 1991, mean nothing because we've seen multiple games with the same date codes. We've seen prototype builds with the same date codes as finished builds. It must just be some target date for the project, or maybe even when it started, although probably not because the game was released in 1991. No, we don't really know what the date codes are in the NMK games. They don't correspond to, obviously, when the specific version of the game in some cases was released. But mainly listen anyway, because now and again you find games like that, but it's actually changed. But, now the MCU on this one was a bit different, whereas it's the same type of MCU, but for Double Dealer and Thunder Dragon, the MCU is marked NMK 110, and those MCUs very specifically only work with the game in question. They've got code for Thunder Dragon in one of them and code for Double Dealer in the other. The MCU found on Hacha Mecha Fighter was marked NMK 113, and it contains multiple programs, which is odd. It reads from a port, and depending on the value of the port, it runs an entirely different protection program from the internal ROM. It's got checks and various places in the code on that port, and just take different branches based on that. And I found in my testing that the MCU found on this board has programs that are compatible with both Thunder Dragon and Double Dealer, as well as this. And also, there seems to be at least one other program that doesn't match any game we know of. So maybe there's another protected NMK game out there that isn't dumped. I know that there's meant to be a Gamora Speed game on NMK hardware that potentially be another protected game, but that is said to not have been released. So chances of finding that with dumper friendly hands is quite low. Anyway. As you can see, this is quite a silly game with a ridiculous art style, but it's got that classic NMK parallax that we saw on quite a few games at this point. So Mustang does the same. And it's a really, really nice effect, the scrolling clouds at the bottom. It just looks like there's so many layers, especially when you get to this water level. And look at them all overlapping. When you talk about parallax on some games where it's entirely fake, there's a level of proper parallax with the effect here. And it just looks so attractive. It gives that 3D depth to it. Maybe not as effective as it is in Mustang, but still a very good looking effect. So I do like this game. I played this one quite a bit. One novelty of this is if you push the edge of the screen, you will score lots of points, but obviously that happens and you die because you don't know where enemies can be. If you do know where the enemies are and you can, use that to score more points, more power to you, but you really have to learn them. Now look, I'm applying cramps. But yeah, unless you've learnt the levels, then trying to get more points that way is just going to kill you very quickly. But my talk at Play Blackpool is with Rose Tinted Spectrum. We're going to be doing weird games. I was kind of tempted to put this in the list because it's kind of quirky and weird. But I'm not sure I will. I think I've got a selection of quite weird games for other reasons without falling back on this one. Although, with all the themes in this one, it definitely counts. Genesis games. Yeah, Genesis used a lot of line scroll. For proper parallax, you do need a bit of a better sprite capacity or a lot of layers. And you've really only got, 2 or 3 layers. There's only so much you can do. But if you've got good sprite capacity and a bunch of layers, you can do some nice effects. And this down here, I think, is a mix of background layers and sprites, which is why it looks more effective. Genesis, of course, has column scroll too, so it can do some fake rotation and tilting and the like. There we go. So again, it's good to finally have these protected sets running, and I did notice that the prototype set is a little bit different in ways I hadn't previously observed.
So once I die again on this game, I'm just going to quickly file the prototype setup. Because you know, when I was testing to make sure changes hadn't broken anything or I hadn't hooked things up wrong, I did, of course, try and file the other games in the driver. Yeah, I should really pay attention. We've got a yellow submarine. Now the MCU in this one, I think, had the string Wakaris or something like that, which is apparently a take on the Player One character name. Hey OBJs, welcome. I will be going to Play Expo OBJs. I'll be on one of the panels on the Sunday, so it'll be good to see you there again if you are going this time. Last time I was sharing breakfast with you, wasn't I? And you were showing off your gamepads and joysticks and things like that for various consoles, and I was playing a little bit of Donkey Kong, I believe. Not very well, because I never play games very well. But yes, so if you're there too, it will be good to see you again. But yeah, as I say, I'll quickly put on the prototype. And the thing I noticed with the prototype, the prototype is not protected, so for a while, prototype is one of the two versions you could play without the protection issues. But immediately, I noticed the sound is different in this. It's got a slightly different tune. It sounds different. You don't immediately notice it unless you've played the other version right before it, but when you have, you soon realise that, hey, this is fun. I'll be going up on Friday too, but I'm going to try and get there earlier, OBJs, because, well, you know, I think there's still the overtime ban on the trains, so I kind of want to give myself a bit of insurance to just make sure I get there in time, and if trains are cancelled, there's always going to be another one. But I'll be going up on the Friday afternoon, maybe morning, and coming back on the Monday. So, hopefully it'll be a good one. Hopefully it will be a good one. I'm a little bit nervous, but you know, I can do these streams, but putting me in a room full of people again is it's a little bit nerve-wracking. I did it when like 2 years ago, but that was sort of COVID times. It was a quieter event. So this is going to be the first time I've done it at probably a capacity event when people aren't walking around in masks and trying to avoid each other for the most part. And I've got to John Romero again as well this year, so there's some big names there, so it should be a fun event. But then, yeah, this is the prototype. This version hasn't changed. I just wanted to point out the audio differences. If you're listening, you may have heard them, but anyway, yeah, this is still a very weird game. Not one that I plan to feature, but a weird game nonetheless. So. Now, okay, I suppose there is one other recent bit of main news I should look at, but I don't know if I even want to play this. Jammer Lammy now. This one, there's been quite a bit of story to this one getting dumped. It runs on a Namco System 12. It took quite a few emulation improvements from Windy Fairy to get it running, and it's the very rare arcade version of Jammer Lammy. People are more scared of you than you are of them. That's what I was trying to say about all the spiders that have been invading the house, and they're clearly not. So yeah, this is a Japanese version. It's so rare there probably wasn't a non-Japanese version. And it's also really quite weird, because most of the attract mode is just video sequences. It's like, what's going on here? Music videos, video sequences. But yes, that's an ice cube. There we go. At least we get a title screen. Do you think they had a license from the people who do the Now Music CDs? Yeah, it's all FMV. That's why it uses a CD. It's just full of FMV. And it's got all these silly little adverts and clips and everything else. And I'm not even sure how to play the game. It's, I guess it was meant to use some sort of PlayStation-like controller? I'm not even sure. Maybe I can set it up on the controller. Circle. So I'm not sure how to play this one. It's not a game I had even back on the PlayStation. I'm guessing it was quite popular, because a lot of people were really hyped when they found out there was an arcade version. They say the track mode is just like a TV sequence full of adverts, which doesn't really sell the game that well, I have to say. Because you don't, you know, maybe the cabinet would sell the game, but it was made by the same people that did Parappa the Rapper. Yeah, I think some of the characters feature in it, don't they? It's probably one of those that's not very well paced to be an arcade game, to be fair. I think it's an attempt to bring it to the arcades, but yeah. So it's a music game again. Solo, I guess. So I've never actually played the original. Okay, that's okay. So yeah, I'd like to get on the game, please. So what do I do? Well, so okay, let's start. Okay, yeah, let's start, please. Okay, so I guess it's just follow the prompts again, or do I have to hold them down? I don't really know. I think I'm doing good. Probably not. Yeah, I will be at the Play Expo. This is why one of the reasons I'm doing the stream at OJB's because they released the list of the arcade games that are going to be there, and this for the second half of the stream, not this half of the stream, I'm just going to have a look at some of those games in MAME. Oh. I don't understand what the difference. What's the difference between this one and that one? I don't really understand the controls of this game, to be honest. I probably should have paid more attention. I mean, why are some of them hollow and some of them not hollow? I to hold them down and then... What's J? I mean, it still says I'm doing good, which I don't believe at all. The bad is flashing. Bad is flashing. But, yeah, C. Let's get more complicated. I don't even know what C is, let's say. No, I'm awful. Well, yeah, I guess I probably failed by not really knowing how to play the game. Hey, I mean, it's a trek even when you're in the UK. I mean, it's like about 2.5 hours train journey with 2 changes, maybe 3 changes. Reminds you of the explosion graphics in UN Squadron. UN Squadron is one of the games they have at Play, which is one of the ones I was... Why is the continue in halves and fractions? And this game is weird. Game is weird, and I don't know how to play it because I've never played it before. Also, my audio level in my headphones is really low, so you know I wasn't even listening to the music because I just turned the audio quite quiet in my headphones. But yeah, well, you know, this is playable in MAME. I'm sure if you played the game before and you know what you're doing, you could do a far better job than I could. I'm terrible at music games anyway. But yes, it seems to work fine. There was another game on Namco hardware that was fixed around the same time. I think Truck something or other, but I may look at that different stream because we are an hour into the stream, which is pretty good timing because an hour into the stream is when I plan to switch to the let's look at some games that are going to be at Play Expo Blackpool part of the stream. Yes, I've got the new PC, Mecha. I'm currently streaming from it. It works rather nicely, in fact. Not perfectly. I mean, there's still some stuff in MAME that doesn't quite run at full speed. This one, for example, Marvel vs. Capcom 2. Marvel vs. Capcom 2. The 1970s electromechanical arcade games. That is a challenge and a half. Now, I warn you now, this does not stay above 100% speed. It's Marvel vs. Capcom 2. But it's not too... I mean, you know, it's more of a Capcom 2. And it's, you know, there are times when it's just stable 100%. I think with some optimizations in the Naomi driver, it would be possible to have this running at 100%. Now, there's this big long pause on a white screen here, which I'm pretty sure is just an emulation issue. I don't think that one to literally 95%. So close, but so far away. Maybe we just some idle skipping. I don't know. Yeah, it needs some performance improvements anyway. But I mean, the fact it is sort of above 100% quite a bit of the time is sort of impressive. Maybe not 100%. This is a 7-pound processor. And I'm hoping that it might stay above 100%. It's close. It's very close. Just slow down a bit when there's more games. Yeah, it's strange to see MAME and Lion games anywhere close to full speed. And some of them do run at full speed. If I put like Choo Choo Rocket Green Pants, that was actually full speed. Yeah, with a bit more work, I think it might be possible to optimize the driver to actually run it at full speed. And apparently this game, Capcom 2, will be at the Expo. Who knows? I think they have it previously on buttons unless I can make a different thing. But we'll see. No, it's I mean, the Naomi driver did improve a bit a while back. Previously, even if you had a PC running at full speed, it wasn't really full speed. Now it is. You know, it would be hard to do even at 700%. But just needs some optimizations somewhere in the chain. The 3D Naomi games tend to not run quite as well, but you know, they still have some 3D, but the background are 3D in this. I'm breaking the sound of it now with these moves. But it shows that at some point, maybe we'll probably get there with it. I think the nothing's might be still actually come out of the book. Game volume is a bit high on this one. Okay, let's turn the game volume down on this one a little bit. I forgot Naomi's quite loud compared to the previous game. But yeah, I just wanted to, you know, this is one of those, yes, there's a new PC here and it's noticeable. Yeah, I think my buttons are completely wrong. No CBA, okay. Yeah, okay, but they're not wrong, they're just weird. Korea has its own copyright laws. It does. It does. But yeah, so this is definitely interesting to see running in MAME as well. And if the cabinet's there, I may give it a shot. I mean, I'm not a big fighting game person. I'm terrible at them. But so we'll probably just move on from Marvel vs. Capcom 2 anyway. You get the idea. On a high enough end PC, it actually runs rather well. Not perfectly, but compared to what you might expect in MAME, can't really complain. So they've got a lot of games, right? Okay. Apparently they're going to have a Robocop. So let's play a bit of Robocop. This is a classic. Robocop is a game I had on the Spectrum, I think. Maybe even the CPC. I had it on one of the computers back in the day. And interestingly, Ocean are credited as on the arcade version too. You see, licensed from Ocean Software. So one of those few games where you see a credit from the home version too. Although Data East, I think, did develop this on their own, but Ocean had the license. Yeah, I think if you learn the game, you can learn where to, the best places to use your weapons and everything else, and you take your time on it and develop a strategy, which I don't have because I've not played in years. And yeah, it's probably one of the easier ones to actually 1cc. So you've got the gun out. But you do have to get the timing right. And terribly, Chicken's restaurant. Is it run by chickens? Oh. Yeah. Now there are certain weapons that are better in certain places, so sometimes you want to avoid picking up weapons. I've not really got the strategy down myself because it's not a game I spend much time playing. It's one I've watched people play and listened to what they've had to say about. Yeah, it was, like you say, System 11, one of those really big games in the UK. I think maybe I remember Turtles more. And Turtles with that the whole sewer scene, the whole panning of the buildings, that was definitely iconic theme tune playing. Yeah, this was another big one. I think again people knew it from the home systems and also knew it from the arcades. And it's Robocop. I mean, Robocop was massive around the time. I still find it strange that for the sequel, everywhere outside of Japan got the first level chopped off. But, yeah.
You are under arrest.
I think as well because people had this. Oh dear. Well, people had this on the home systems and knew it well on the home systems. It was always going to be a game people wanted to play in the arcade too, because it's the flashier version, and they wanted to show off the skills. But, it does play quite differently to those home versions, which all play quite differently to each other. The timings are very different. Another Data East cabinet. I don't know if anywhere's got one. I don't remember seeing a cabinet like this for a while. I don't think Arcade Club Blackpool had one at least. They had a lot of games. But, I may end up going there again this year too. To descend. Can't see what's below you on these sections. But yeah, the speech samples in this as well. Yeah, they are very recognisable. But yeah, it's a game with very slow, deliberate moves. It doesn't have the best frame rate for an arcade game, surprisingly. I think it's one of those that runs more like 30 frames a second than 60, but Data East and performance, Data East weren't really the best at performance, has to be said. You look at things like Midnight Resistance on similar hardware and the performance is all over the place. And yeah, I have heard the C64 version is basically impossible to complete. I think it has been patched by the community since then, but yeah, the original release apparently C64 could not be completed, which is surprising. C64 was often the superior platform, the best version of the games, but yeah, Robocop, fortunately, it was not. Obviously, I've not once CC'd this remotely. Thank you for your cooperation. Yeah, I imagine all the evidence still in there make it probably not the most difficult thing to hack back in. Get your bonus round too here. Bit of target practice. Ooh. Without a mouse. Again, if you know which orders to shoot these targets in, you'll do much better than if you don't. And I don't. I think it's a fixed order, fixed pattern. You will learn. Precision. Time over. Yeah. 90% hit. Not as bad as I thought it did. Not as bad as I thought I did. But yeah, I do look forward to playing this one at Play. So I don't think Arcade Club had it, but Play apparently are going to have a copy of it. So a good one to see. I don't know if they had it previous year. I don't remember seeing it, but they do rotate the games a little bit. So it might have been taken off the floor by the time I was having a look around, or broken down, because unfortunately these things are quite old and they do sometimes break. That's what I was saying. Especially when subjected to the public, who in many cases probably haven't seen genuine arcade machines before and don't quite know what to expect, so don't always treat them the best. You kind of have to be careful with these old machines at this point. Not just hammer the buttons. So, they've always got a baby Pac-Man that people manage to break very quickly. Yeah, shooting range 100% gives you health boost. So if you learn that, then yes, you can do better at, as you say, System 11. I think that's the same strategy I've seen in other people who have 1cc it, and knowing when to pick up different weapons, because sometimes it will give you a weapon that looks good and is just not great for the level you're going to be on. But yeah, it's a very moody game. It's kind of a dull palette compared to some games. Not as dull as some, but very moody. Fits the movie, fits the time it was released in. I think it's a good game for when it was, the time period in the late 80s. It has a serious look to it.
Robocop.
It is a very, very, very good game, and one worth putting in the time practicing. So, what else are they going to have? Yeah, they're going to have. Just announced they have a UN Squadron. So this is one that I loved on the computer. I had this on the Amstrad and played it to death. I mean, the Amstrad version is very, very slow, but I still love the game with the little shop system. You choose your weapons for each stage. Let's see, what do I want? Oh, I have that one. Can't afford any of the others. It's one of those satisfying horizontal shooters. Big bosses. Enemies that don't take too many shots, so you've got your popcorn enemies, they go down quite easily. No, you don't have to even hammer the button, do you? Not too much. You have to hammer it occasionally. Just you can hold it other times. Some fast shots at it. Then you've got flashing bullets, which makes them a bit easier to see. So if you don't avoid them, it doesn't make much difference if they're easy to see. Ouch, Zero. You earlier on in the stream, AJ, was you commenting on Double Beta? Or was there another Ouch Zero at some point? Yeah, you have to use the respect buttons at the right time, and not just dying. It's been a long time since I played it, to be honest. Again, I do remember this one was at Play the previous year. I did play. I think I did a little bit better than I'm doing now, in fact. But that was probably because I was playing the game and not just
playing and talking. So the target is the invisible stealth bomber. So yeah, I could just not buy any weapons. I could buy an energy tank with my money. A bit of extra health. You should have probably got weapons though, because without the special weapons, you're going to spend a lot of time killing these bosses. Look at these lightning effects. You're getting some. It's not really parallax, which is surprising because the CPS could have done more road scroll, but it's still a really effective visual with lightning going between the clouds. It just looks so good. Different size too. You've got the lightning between the bigger clouds, you've got the lightning further in the background. There's so much going on visually in it, even though it's a simple sky scene. People don't like flapping effects in games these days, and if you're doing a modern version of games, you're often having to take them out because I feel like something like that. But, want a good proper lightning effect though. Yeah, this is one of the games that has one. Legend of Card Jade is another. Let's try and concentrate a bit more. Yes, Capcom in the day could do some fantastic shooting ups. I think it's a shame they pretty much went down the route of only doing fighters, to be honest, because I would have loved to see more Capcom shooting ups on, Capcom developed ones on CPS2, rather than just getting third parties to do them. Not that the third party ones are bad. I mean, Pro Gear and things like that are excellent games, but some Capcom originals would have been nice too. You could get Eco Fighters, which is kind of a Forgotten World sequel with an eco theme. Like one of the missiles. Back into the way of the missiles. Yeah, if you play the CPT version, it's much easier because it's very slow. This is not so slow. A fair bit of dodging to do it now. That's why I say if it had a special weapon, I would have been able to take this thing out much more quickly and probably not died there. Although, would they have made it in the first place? I don't know. So yeah. That coming to August 2. What about XX's 2? Although XX's have got that hexagonal pattern to it, which makes it look a bit like a Don Patrick, even though it's not. Gorf is awesome. Yeah, I think you're probably quite far behind in the stream, OJBs. I think you might be. So, hello OJBs when you reach this point in the stream. The target's the Forest Fortress. Oh, yes. Get the big one. Get some more energy too. Although, yeah, you should probably save things like that for later levels. Blow up the trees. Not all of them. Significant number of the trees just get blown effects. Animated waterfalls, probably just a colour cycle effect, but it's still effective. Waste some of my special weapons. If you do a shop system right, it works. If you do a shop system wrong, you get Double Dragon free. I mean, this isn't asking you to put extra money in all the time. It's quite fair in what it lets you buy between levels. If you want to buy something, if you don't want to buy something, you want to save your money for the next level. It's not just, oh, you died, you lost everything, put more money, put in more money, put in more money. It's a fair system that's built into the game well. I think a lot of people don't like it when shooting must hide bullets behind things, but if you free level, it sort of makes sense here. Okay. You're in Squadron. One I look forward to playing again, and maybe I should get a little bit of practice in it before the day. Now, the next game might not be at Play Expo Blackpool. In fact,
I'm going to place a bet that it won't be. So why am I playing? Well, they've listed Neo Geo MVS Multi, which is probably means they're just going to have like Ghost Pilots or Puzzle Bobble. But the optimist in me says they're going to put something different in it, like Xeno Crisis. So, you know, they probably won't. Although they have had Bitmap Viewer at the event before, so it would actually be quite nice if they put Xeno Crisis in the MVS cabinet. I don't think they're going to, though. But we will have a look a little bit at Xeno Crisis, which you can run in HB MAME, or you can add to your own main build. It's not a bad game, to be honest. Choose a character, which is top. So, a bit Smash TV this. I think you can even configure it to twin stick mode if you want. But as it stands, we are not in twin stick mode, we are in regular old mode. Your shots lock and you can rotate. I've run out of ammo, which is easy to do. And you have to use the melee attacks, which what are you doing? Now, I don't know if this will actually end up being added to MAME at some point, because you can get an MDS cartridge, and it is now, I think, it's like 4 years old, isn't it? The copy one was 2019. So maybe at some point this will officially be added. I don't really know. Oh, Aussie Guy says there was a full disc sequel that went unreleased. Has it been recovered, or is it one of those that is still lost, Aussie Guy? Yeah, a little bit Smash TV, although, say, the structure seems slightly more linear and a bit less crazy. Get the idea. Go into rooms, clear out rooms. Keep the ammo dropped there. Your ammo just seems to be quite limited. Don't necessarily, there's different paths now though. And rescue the humans. I'll get out of ammo. Oh, get the ammo. Rolled myself into trouble there. North American version say Japanese version is not. I might have to look at that on stream at some point then, if it's actually interesting, or is it one of those that went unreleased for good reason? Yeah, I did mention it, but yes, we're a little bit behind for JBs. Cool, boss time. Oh, yes. Okay, that didn't go too well. Nade. Oh, it's so good, but still got lots of health left. I think we need it now. I don't have a strategy here. Never played this game before. I played just to make sure it loaded. One I would have liked to buy on the Switch, but it's pretty hard to get hold of now because it was a limited print one. I don't know if the Switch version is based on this version or the Mecha Drive version either, but it's in a different port. Anyway. Judge marks my skill. Rank E. E for excellent, you see. Definitely, that was an E for excellent. Very Toplan and Truxton.
Engaged alien hostiles and took care of their little friend. Now proceeding to the facility.
We're talking about shops. We've got some dog tags, and I get to upgrade myself. What do I want to upgrade? Upgrade speed, ammo limit. Actually, yeah, I should put an ammo limit. That seems to be the thing that was causing me most issues. It's a respectable Neo Geo game, I think this is. Could be, maybe not everybody's cup of tea. But, I think it's well presented. you wanted more of this kind of Smash TV Robocop action, you could do a lot worse than playing this one.
Room clear.
Good sound effects, well done graphics, well animated. So the ammo seems to run out too quickly though. It's my only real complaint. I wish you had a bit more ammo, especially if you're using the rock shot. It just depletes so quickly. Also, invulnerability frames when you roll might be nice. But yes, the quality of the unlicensed software is getting better.
Room clear.
You've had to kickstart the Mega Drive version. Yeah, they did do that, and they seem like a friendly company as well. They're quite happy for people to play the games in emulators. In fact, I think they even give instructions to how to add this to the main software list if you want to go to the main if you buy the digital copy. So, yeah, it's nice to have companies that do support the emulation scene rather than heating it to. There's an M64 port. Oh, it's a dead end. I should have gone a different way. The enemies do not seem to respawn. Yes. And the performance is pretty good too. I'm not seeing excessive slowdowns or anything like that. There's no bad screen tearing like got on some newer games back in the day. Overall, I think they've done a good job here. Oh, dead there. But anyway, this one probably won't be Play Expo, so I don't know what. There will be an MVS cabinet apparently, but it didn't specify which games will be on it. But, who knows? Who knows? I don't know if this works in a multi-setup. Never tested a multi-setup. But, yes. Bitmap Bureau. There you go. Not bad at all, that one. Not bad at all. Now, one game that always seems to be there is Hot Rod. System 24, it's loading. I think it's the turbo version of Hot Rod. Well, I can't actually remember. Is it the turbo version? It's been a year. I think it still has a graphical glitch in MAME 2, doesn't it? Yep, it still has a glitch on the screen for some reason. Then again, the System 24 emulation does need a bit of work, so maybe I shouldn't be too surprised. It's quite quiet, isn't it? So it's one of those games that is definitely best enjoyed with multiple players, but we don't have multiple players. So let's just get on with a bit of Hot Rod. Just very quiet. Let's turn it up a little bit more. So, that. And it reminds me of micro machines. In the sense that if you end up off the screen, you end up in prison, so it's too late. Sort of a bit micro machines, a bit super sprinty, but with a scrolling track. Yeah, my rank is 2. The presentation's a little rough in this. I mean, it would have been nice if they put a box around that ranking text. But I guess being a floppy-based system, capacity is kind of limited. Everything has to load into RAM. Everything has to fit on the floppy disks. And it's also medium resolution, which takes up a lot of space. Very unusual system design, System 24. You would have thought with it being medium resolution, they wouldn't have gone for floppies, because floppies are far lower capacity than a good set of ROMs. But they did. I don't know. I mean, it's a bad game though. Doesn't mean I'm good at the game. I'm out of fuel though. That is not good though. That is very bad.
Yeah, I think it's a bit easy with the wheel on the cab. Also, the non-turbo version is a bit easier to play, to be honest. The fact you start off at the maximum speed means you never really get a chance to get used to the handling in this version. With multiplayer, it's fun too. If you've got friends to play it with, it's better than playing it to computer, because friends act like real players. It's more natural. Yeah, it is easier with a wheel. Also, I suppose if I tune the controls a little bit better in MAME, I might find it a bit easier. There we go. No, I want to be in front again. Yes, Sega do sometimes like their counting down gas times, don't they? Galaxy Force and this, and Health and Spider-Man. Yeah, this machine is one that's always in good condition and always working. I don't know if it still runs from floppy or if they've actually upgraded it to work with one of the floppy replacement systems. If it still runs from the original floppy, that is actually kind of impressive. Well, I'm assuming they'll have gone with the one of the modern replacements. You know, I think most System 24 cabs are going to have been upgraded somewhat. Floppies were not built to last. As we're finding with the magnet system stuff and the floppies all being in very rough condition. Probably got that. That was gas, I believe. Feel like I'm playing Frogger now, trying to cross a road, but I'm empty again. I have to gas again, which means that I can only watch as they cross the finish line and get a game over. Yeah, not very good at that one. Let's not play any more of that one. Right. Strangely enough, Snow Brothers is not on the list this year. That's unusual. It usually is. Silkworm. This is going to be there, apparently. Silkworm is one of those asymmetrical games where each player has a very different role. I think it's one of the reasons it's famous, really. One player controls the helicopter and the other controls the jet. The Jeep. I think if you try and play it with the Jeep alone, you're not going to get very far. But you can play it with the helicopter alone quite. You'll be off. All right, take care, Mr. Fun Guy. I hope you had a good night, and I'll see you on the next one, maybe. But yeah, you've got your forward shot, and you've got your bomb. And I think if I'd inserted the point on player 2 side, I could have played this just player 2, but that means you're driving on the ground, which is more challenging. It's a bit more like Moon Patrol if you play it that way. Of course, I'm not going to do very well anyway. Now, some people also like to double map the controls, so they're controlling both at once. If that's your thing, then sure, why not? So this is usually considered a classic. I believe it got some decent home ports as well. One of those games people do know from the home systems. Finds to be a very weird boss. Into the sky. I missed the power. Amiga was a good one. Yeah, I don't know if I played the Amiga. I think I played it on the Amstrad, which at the time I remember enjoying. I don't know if it would be considered a good port by modern standards, but I really enjoy it. It does feel a lot like a home computer game, really. It has that something about it that makes it feel more at home on that home system for some reason. Interesting facts about this one is there's a game called Backfire that uses a lot of the assets from this, but plays in a very different way. I think they've only got bootleg sets of that anyway, notes, the prototype.
classic. Still quite. Should not be trying to play one-handed. That happens at Play Expo too. You grab a drink and then you die. The NES Famicom version is supported by Tecmo themselves. Tecmo Silkworm started out as Backfire. Backfire is an interesting one. It plays nothing like this at all. I think it just glitched later on, probably because the prototype hadn't finished. Yet so far in the game, it kind of runs out of backgrounds for you. This is the finished game, which changed considerably on the development. For the better. Well, I'd say for the better. I do quite like Backfire, but Backfire isn't as memorable. It doesn't have the whole asymmetrical player thing going on, which is widely acknowledged. A good period of quality for Tecmo. Yes, they did put out some good stuff. Solomon's Key is always a favourite. Although, obviously not exactly doing very well here. I did better at Airwolf when I played Airwolf, because it had a couple of shooters. Let's just do the other thing. So I'll say it's got the you can be a Jeep. But, yeah, now I'm on the ground, you see. That means you've got very little vertical space to work with. You feel so tiny as the Jeep too. You feel like an ant. You aim up and down aims. So it doesn't feel like it was intended to be played as two-player only, but it's a different experience. Ninja Gaiden, Rygar. I'd say Tecmo did some good stuff in general. The Rygar, which is the one I was thinking of, that's another Tecmo on the shooter. It's similar hardware to Ninja Gaiden. Apparently, Tecmo did develop Riot that licensed it. The Riot on Tecmo hardware, I heard, was actually made by Tecmo, but it's credited to NMK. I don't know. I'm not sure about that one. Okay. Trying to play as just a Jeep. Ooh. It just feels like Boogie Wings when you lost your plane and you're running along the ground and going. You feel very, very vulnerable like this. I decided to like this or Super Swift more. I mean, Super Swift, Swift and Super Swift had no Tecmo involvement, did they? Any top retro games? Anyway, Silkworm. It will be there. Maybe I will find somebody to play it with. Then you can have the full experience of a two-player Silkworm, which is how it's meant to be played. Tecmo published a few things. So, what else are we going to do? Shall we stay with the S's? I don't know how this one's going to play on keyboard either, to be honest. This one was there the other years too. Atari's Space Duel, one of the Vector games. And I will always say, if you get a chance to play a Vector game in person, don't pass on the opportunity. They just look so good. What are we doing here? Select. There we go. This is like a very strange version of Master Points. Atomic Buster. I don't think Zero Team is at Play Expo, so I might look at Zero Team on another stream, but not this one. This one is, at this point, for games that will be at Play Expo Blackpool this coming weekend. And Space Duel is on their list. I think Space Duel was there previous years too. It's also one of those where you've got a 2-player mode that's quite interesting. It's like asteroids, just with shapes that aren't asteroids. Fortunately, Star Wars wasn't on their list this year. They've usually got Star Wars coming up, which is the vector game to play if you see it. Unless they're going to have it anyway and just not announced it, but you would have thought if they had the Star Wars, they would be announcing it. Maybe not Atari's most original game, considering they'd already done Asteroids. But the extra colours, they add a little something, especially on a real monitor. Don't quite get the same effect on an emulator. Might have turned the glow up a bit too high. Game over. Some fireworks. Okay. So Tecmo published a Mahjong game from Neon Busan. I was looking at some Neon Busan games lately. Their flyers are interesting. I mean, yeah, one player with linked ships. So yeah, this is a weird one. Have you ever played Emotion, where you've got the linked balls, the home game? This reminds me a lot of that. You have to really manage the ship, otherwise you'll be in trouble. You've got double the firepower, but because you're tethered to this other ship, you have to be very careful about how you maneuver. I think this is where it stands out a little bit more than just plain Asteroids. If you bother to have a look at this mode, you'll see there's a different game on offer. I think you can do this with 2 players too, so you get a bit more control over it in that case. Co-op style thing. You also have the option to play it 1 player like this. Yeah, I mean, there's definitely a Star Wars at Play Expo at Arcade Club Blackpool. I've seen pictures of it from the other day. There's still got one there, but yeah, maybe it's considered too high risk to still have it show. I mean, say the machines at the show do get a bit battered. Say baby Pac-Man has definitely seen better days. It'll work for about the first few hours and then have issues. It's a shame. Although it's baby Pac-Man, so it's not that great anyway. It's a bit of a novelty. Yes, unfortunately, these machines are becoming fragile, and vector monitors probably becoming even more valuable than your regular CRT monitors. But this one's going to be there at least. I guess the advantage people have today is at least you can 3D print replacement parts for quite a few bits and pieces. Obviously not monitors, but if like pedals breaking, things like that. You're not having to try and buy old parts. You can sometimes make your own parts these days, and relatively they might hold up for a little while. You've got one vector monitor, but it's a little bit broken of your System 11. Yeah. I suppose the edges isn't too bad if it's towards where people might consider it not where you're focusing on the game, not the important play area, just what might be considered overscan type areas. So that's not too bad. You're terrified of touching it. I think if it still works, then don't touch it. But yeah, Space Duel. If you get a chance to play it at Play Expo, then have a look at those 2-player modes, or the 1-player mode with 2 ships, because that's what sets it aside from, say, Asteroids, and that's the point. It really becomes more worth playing, I would say. Apparently they're going to have a Space Invaders. No, let's not play Space Invaders. Let's go for this one. This one's always there. This one is one that I strangely get quite a few questions of. Oh, can MAME emulate that? How can MAME possibly emulate that? And yeah, MAME will run video pinball. I can understand why people ask, because it uses an actual backdrop, and just the video screen is just the flippers and stuff like that. But yeah, I mean, you can run it in MAME. It doesn't quite have the same effect as trying to play it on real hardware. But you can still play it. You can still see where the ball's meant to go. You can still, you know, judge where you're meant to hit it. And it's not. I mean, it's not the most difficult one to get running in MAME. Just get the ROMs, you get the artwork, and you run it. Compared to the stuff MAME's been doing more recently with Game & Watch, this is relatively trivial. It's just an image behind the playfield. You know what? It doesn't play the worst game of pinball, but an early primitive game. Obviously, compared to a real pinball, it feels a little pointless. I mean, you look at a real pinball table, and they're magnificent things. They're going to have quite a few real pinball tables again. But it's not a bad alternative if you wanted a turvy video pinball. And it's not going to be perfect pinball. I mean, it's running on very, very primitive hardware, but it does play better than a lot of 8-bit pinball games I've played. It's nice use of a real backdrop to make for the very difficult to render a pinball table at this quality. Virtual Pinball on Genesis is better. Ooh, if that's what I'm thinking of, I really don't like that. Is that the one that's got the pinball construction kit thing? With the really weird tables that make no sense. If it is, I can't recommend that one. Personal preferences. I think I would rather play this than Virtual Pinball. Or Dino Land Pinball. Yeah, it's just, I don't really like. I usually like pinball. Usually like construction set games, but I never got on with Virtual Pinball. It didn't feel like you were building anything that felt like a pinball table. It felt too much like it was kind of a game. Pinball, you really want just scrolling in one direction. You don't want multi-direction scrolling, weird areas within the table. Hard to describe, hard to explain, but I'm quite happy to play, say, Pinball Dreams, Pinball Fantasies, Psycho Pinball on the Mega Drive, things like that. But yeah, Virtual Pinball did nothing for me. Gauss Pinball. I can't string Gauss Pinball System 11. I think I would get kicked off of YouTube. But yes, Gauss Pinball, which is a hack of Tecmo's Super Pinball Action. That was an interesting set found a few years ago, the prototype Super Pinball Action with the second screen. Apparently that got shelved for 2 years before it was released without the second screen. And then, of course, a few years later, Capcom decided, oh, let's make Gauss Pinball and Hot Pinball. And yeah. But the Comad hardware doesn't have the blending features, so whereas in the Tecmo original you can see where the ball is kind of when it's under things because it's got a blending effect. The Comad hardware doesn't have that, so it's very messy. But yeah, so this is always that played whenever I've been there.
And it has been announced for this year, so it should still be there. It's a perfectly enjoyable little pinball game if you want early pinball. But Sonic Spinball's not really a pinball game. It's just Sonic with some... It's not a Sonic game either. It's a strange hybrid that I really like, actually. It's got platforming elements, but it's also got pinball elements, but it's not really either. It's very badly programmed, but it's good fun. It's a shame the programming of Spinball was so bad, to be honest. That game had some good design to it otherwise. But yeah, Virtual Pinball from Atari. What year was this? 1979. So yeah, this was very early. This is pre-Pac-Man. Atari did good things back then. Atari did very good things back then. Right. So, what else is going to be there that is worth having a look at in MAME? Now, one I've seen quite a few people excited to see is Zaxxon. Now, I find this a very difficult game to play. I think it glitched out last time I played on stream too. Don't have one button. Zaxxon. Sega's isometric shooter. Sonic Spinball is actually my favourite Sonic game. Extreme Reg. Now that's a very strange thing to say, but I do really enjoy a bit of Sonic Spinball. Right, it's a bit loud, so let's turn it down. Let's try again. Zaxxon is one of those games that is just known for being hard. In part because, you know, nobody was really used to the perspective at the time, and in part because it's hard. Not as hard as Super Zaxxon, but having to basically judge your height from your shadow, or just from, you know, get the feel for your height after a while, is not an easy skill. Well, you know, you judge it from where you're firing. If you hit a wall with your shots, you know, you've got to go up and down. Then you get these sections where you've got no shadow, so good luck knowing how high anything is. You just have to learn it from the height meter. You can't even you've got nothing to go by, really, I can tell. You just need to have slight targeting. I don't know, this section's difficult. Pretty sure this is still using samples in MAME rather than naked sound too. So it'll be interesting to see how it actually sounds on a real cabinet, assuming you can hear the cabinet. When I've never seen the cabinet, seriously trying to fly through that gap. You're trying to fly through that gap. That's like fly through. In terms of isometric shooters, I think I'd rather play Wipeout. Well, I do respect what this game did for the time it was released. It's still an impressive title. Boom. I mean, at least the original Zaxxon is more playable than Super Zaxxon. I think Super Zaxxon is unnecessary. You take a hard game and you make it even harder. Okay. I think Congo Bongo is on the list as well. They might actually have a Congo Bongo as well as a Zax. What did I hit? Yeah, Super Zaxxon is absurdly difficult. I mean, the problem is I think Super Zaxxon is quite a bit faster, isn't it? This gives you time to adjust your height. I think Super Zaxxon just zooms along so quickly that if you don't know what you're doing, you're going to die before you know it. One of those kill 'em off quick games. I'm running out of fuel. The only fuel to be had here is in space. Oh well.
Oh. Over the wall, into the fortress. There we go. The whole shooting the fuel tank thing is very much like Scramble. Just this is turned to this isometric perspective. Anyway, I am looking forward to giving this one a try on real hardware. So hopefully it is there as announced and is working. But yeah, I'd like to see how it sounds as much as anything. The good old Pengo is going to be there. Let's play the Japanese version because we want the popcorn music. Thanks for playing. I've not played yet, but I will try once more. It's a strange screen to boot up to be honest. Ekigama's last game was Congo Bongo / Tip Top. He made 3 games for Sega, Zaxxon, Super Zaxxon, and Congo Bongo. What did you do after that, Aussie guy? I think you probably told me before, if anything. So Pengo, developed by Callout, who would later become Banpresto. Now, one thing we did find recently is that this popcorn music is not just in the old versions of Pengo; it's in the Japanese versions of Pengo. The 2 sets in MAME, the latest Japanese and latest export versions, are both the same code revision, but one has popcorn, the other doesn't. And you can see that through the entire history of the game. There's always a version with popcorn and a version without popcorn. And it would appear that Sega only had the license for the popcorn music in Japan, so it's the Japanese versions that have popcorn. But all the bootlegs are based on the Japanese versions. So most people just think popcorn's the right music, which is how these things go sometimes. So it does feel very strange to play with the other music, but technically the other music is what Sega did intend for non-Japanese audiences. I should probably look at 2600 a bit more Extreme Rec. Okay, made video cameras after leaving the game industry. I mean, that's a change of career, but I suppose not everybody wants to make games. Now, yes, you can complete the levels by pushing blocks together, but one of the things with Pengo, there are multiple ways to do it. Kind of one of the reasons it's a classic game. Gives you different options. You can go zap. It would still be nice to get some more information on Super Chick, the micro hard game, because I'm pretty sure the palette's meant to be provided by the MCU on that one, but unfortunately that's a very weird hack of this game with its own protections and all sorts of nonsense that doesn't quite work in MAME, and unless somebody gets another Super Chick board and lets us run tests on it, I can't imagine that weird micro hard hack ever getting much better than it is right now. But yeah, it'd be interesting to see which version of Pengo is there. Will it be one of these versions, or will it be one with the other music? If you look at the actual Pengo revisions, there are a lot of changes between them. The game is one of those where everybody is going to have played a different version with slightly different mechanics, slightly different AI, the different music. I think a lot of people are going to play bootleg versions, to be honest. The bootleg versions of this were incredibly common. Anyway. But, yes, you can try and push the blocks together, but it's often trickier. And that's Pengo. I think everybody knows Pengo. Classic game. I saw quite a few of these we'll be looking at, to be fair. This one.
They also apparently have an IRAM Kung Fu Master. It's a shame they don't have more IRAM games. I would like to see like something like Horizon, but Horizon is like super rare. But Kung Fu Master is one you still see relatively often. I have a feeling it might be because it was also so heavily bootlegged. Kung Fu Master is one of those where there are just as many bootlegs as original games, so hence you still see some of the bootlegs around these days. Some of them are interesting, some of them have got quite audio. It's another game where people remember playing at home, although the Spectrum port was awful. CPC port was pretty good. Boot. The sequel of this was dumped, but the MCU protection is an absolute nightmare because it basically decompresses all the background data and controls the score display and it manages the entire timeline on its own. And the background data is encrypted, all the time up there is encrypted, and yeah, I'm not sure it's going to be possible to emulate the sequel without an MCU dump. And since the prototype, I don't think the MCU is going to ever be dumped, so that's a bit messy. Was studying it probably 6 months ago, and lots of patterns in the MCU data ROM, but unless you actually know what your plain text is meant to be, yeah, good luck. You have China Warrior for the TurboGrafx evolution of this. I mean, in terms of actual evolutions, I think Aussie Guy mentioned Capcom's Avengers, the sort of overhead game, is a more natural evolution of this because the guy who designed this went on to design Avengers and things like that, which feels like a step down, really, but anyway, I don't think it's badly. There's also a NES sequel to this, which is completely different to the arcade sequel. Ikigami sued Nintendo over Donkey Kong Jr. in '83 for copyright infringement. Interesting. But that's the same that worked on the Sega game, like Congo Bongo. Yeah, this game isn't as hard as I'm making it look, but I'm going to keep running. I'm not going to keep running away from you because you got me. The same one. Was that before or after those games? Now, one thing that was considered when studying the data in the MCU data ROM for a sequel was that it might store things in a compressed format, and maybe some of the older games that do it in software will use a similar format. But again, I couldn't draw any conclusions along those lines. It's just so weird to see IRAM use an MCU for something like that because it's so out of character with IRAM and what they do in general. I'm gonna have a strategy for these guys. Not that strategy. Not that strategy. I can't remember the strategy on this game. It's been too long since I played it. But Kung Fu Master, another classic. A game worth checking out. A game people often complain about the emulation of in MAME, saying that you can't jump forward. But it's got quite an awkward jump. You have to be basically running before you can use up to jump. And a lot of people just think you should be able to place a diagonal. And you can't. It was never like that. And they do have some Sega classics there. Apparently they're going to have a deluxe cabinet of Hang-On. And I think they had that in previous years, so hang on. Well, I don't think the 2600 was going to do a proper isometric version with X-String Mech. So I guess that's the best they could do with that board. So hang on. The controls configured too. I don't know. They do. Yes, classic hang on. Like many of the super scaler games from Sega, it holds up fantastically well and is an absolute joy to see in motion. And when you've got the deluxe cabinet, even better. So this is one that I will give me a spin. One of the more interesting racing games they had previous year was Jalico's Good Run, actually. So we don't see many Jalico games. I don't think that's on the list for this year, then. Right. This I am out of. I can play hang-on better than this. I'm more used to super hang-on, to be fair. I did not get anywhere on the Z. I think my control sensitivity is not quite right for playing this. A lot of people seem to misremember hang-on as having gears as well, and it does not have gears. I think the Master System port, the SD1000 port has, is it the SD1000? One of the ports has gears, but the arcade does not. So, yeah. It's the thing with the port of hang-on. I know the people have asked me a few times in the past, did hang-on use gears? And no, because I'm sure I crashed into that shell last time. No, the original hang-on doesn't have gears. The super hang-on has the turbo button, which is basically like a high gear. This is a very pure racing game. I should probably set the dips. There was the checkpoint. I'm going to put the okay. I put it on easy. Try again. Donkey Kong has a secret message, does it? I do like games with secret messages. Those NMK games, the NMK 004 sound CPU data ROMs often have messages insulting anybody who's trying to look at them and hack the protections. I think these days they're quite happy for them to have been figured out and emulated though, because that means they can sell them on modern platforms. But back in the day, they definitely did not like bootleggers. I love the way that wave of bike went past there. But they put little messages in there to insult people. Yeah, there's quite a few, especially the complete ones, Extreme Wreck. People left practically diary entries, maybe even novels in some of them. I went through that gate. I call for VAR. I think there's one thing in MAME that has a taunt and it still doesn't work that I'm aware of, and that is it's called Taiwan Chess Legend. I think it's just a slot machine, to be honest. It seems to run in Cherry Master type hardware with some encryption. There's a little taunt in that saying if you manage to break this, blah 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 blah. And I don't think we managed to break it, but I think that's probably because nobody cares. So yeah, hang on. I really want to actually get past the first part of this game, because I know I can get past the first part of this game. Just haven't really got my controls configured. Also, I actually prefer Hangman Junior these days for some reason. I'm not even sure why. There we go. Much better. The Hang-On Junior is the version that's basically a Master System hardware, but it's just got such a lot of charm to it. The list also says that Play Expo Blackpool are going to have an Afterburner cabinet, a full-size one. I'm assuming they mean Afterburner 2, because Afterburner 1 was not great. So I'm assuming they mean they've got one of the Afterburner 2 motion cabinets. It would be interesting to see if they do, because those aren't that common to see these days. So, how are we doing for time? I'm going for just over 2 hours. I'll probably call this one at about 2.5 hours. So, we'll look at some more games and move on to something. else and start planning the next stream. Right. So apparently they're going to have they're going to have an Area 51. That's big. Okay. So apparently they're going to have an Area 51. One of those on-rail shooters. It runs on Kojak hardware, basically a Jaguar, but with a hard drive from which it streams loads of video. So a lot of people have fond memories of this one. So, what do we shoot? Shoot even that? Can't shoot. Back to the keyboard. So it does feel a bit like a waste of Jaguar hardware to do an FMV based game on, but I suppose it worked for them. I think this game itself is more popular than the Jaguar ever was. Not sure what you want. I'm going to be popular. Why did I do that? Shoot the hostage. Shoot random hostages. I mean, they could have done it with Jaguar CD, I'm sure. Maybe slight downgrade in quality of streaming screens, CD drive is slower than the hard drive. I don't think it would have needed the Jaguar 2 somehow. Just like shooting. Reload. Yeah, Charlie Jaguar was to be polite, the hardware just had too many bugs, didn't perform, and this web market was too expensive. Very difficult to say anything positive about the Jaguar. And too many of the developers just treated it like a Mega Drive and trying to put Mega Drive games using the 68K only. And it doesn't have like sprite and time-up hardware, it has a blitter, And yeah, none of that worked in its favour, so it inevitably failed.
Reload. Reload, reload.
Yeah, I think we had Area 51 last time as well, actually. I seem to remember perfect.
Reload, reload. Reload, reload.
This game's got a load of secrets to it, if you know where they are.
Reload,
Oh yeah,
I got it covered here. You're clear, Caterson.
reload, reload, reload. Reload, reload.
Jump in! Let's hoof it, people.
Reload, reload. Reload, reload. Reload, reload.
Played this one as Dreadful. It's very popular, but I mean, it's no Time Crisis, is it? I mean, it's just a plain shooter, really. You've not got a cover mechanic. If you learn where the enemies are and you aim well, fine. Otherwise, yeah, it's an FMV game. It's basically an FMV game, and
Reload,
yeah,
reload.
it mixes some sprites quite well. It's better than the latest game in setting.
Reload.
It's less obvious what's FMV and what's a sprite, and things can disappear with that.
Reload, reload, reload.
But it's very much your definition on rails because of the backlash of the stream. Pre-rendered visuals, I guess they looked okay at the time, but yeah, you can tell the pre-rendered visuals. Hey Bob, welcome Bob. I hope you're doing well. It's been a while since I've seen you. You're probably just about arriving towards the end of the stream because I think there's about 10 minutes to go. But it's good to see you. I hope you're doing well. Yeah, I mean, for some reason in MAME, the crosshair seems to be calibrated slightly off because it's always shooting to the left of where it was, but unless I just mess up the configuration. You find that with gun games in general. I don't know how people are so good at them because I struggle to aim any of them. Iwasaki would later work with Nintendo on a few NES Famicom games, and staffs from there would form Intelligent Systems who did Puzzle Dupont and Fire Emblem. I think Puzzle Dupont is a little bit underrated. I mean, I'm not a fan of, say, Flash Columns, but I think the Puzzle Bowl formula works quite well for Puzzle Dupont, where you've got to get a certain element out of there. I think when you're playing these things on the cabinets these days, you tend to find even well-maintained ones, the guns are often badly calibrated as well, so maybe I've never had the best experience with them for that reason. But if the game was like that back in the day, yeah. Alright, what else are they going to have? What else are they going to have? Apparently they're going to have a Nibbler. Good old Nibbler. Now this is an odd one because a lot of people are used to playing this with the music, but apparently original Nibbler boards aren't meant to have music, and if they have music, it's because it's left over from the other game on the hardware. But people liked it with music, so it often got left with music. But it's a snake game. You've got to eat everything without eating yourself. It's one of the games that somebody wrote an AI bot for as well, so you can get MAME to basically play this endlessly if you want. And the AI bot also shows some of the weaknesses in the game design. If you make enough corners, enough turns within the stage will just automatically end because the game can't track that many of them. So in a stage like this, if you like this all the way perfectly through the entire stage, you can finish the stage without actually finishing the stage. I played Jungler, yes, I played Jungler. I actually really like Jungler. But that's the one where you've got to get behind the other snakes and shoot them in the back and everything like that, isn't it? Yeah, the Konami one. There's a bootleg, I think, of Jungler just partially dumped on something like Galaxian hardware, where unfortunately one of the graphics ROMs was broken, which is a shame because that looked kind of interesting too, seeing how they'd adapted it. But unless another board shows up, I think that one's never going to work properly. Also, it turns for you if you pay too long on this. You can't spend forever waiting to turn, because if you don't make a move, it will turn for you. Usually not the way you want it to. You have to be fast, you have to plan your way around. You have to try not to stop, ideally. You take the long route around, which is safer. Yeah, not many people know Jungler. I think it did get even a port from the 8-bit. I think the CPC's got a version of Jungler. I can't remember if it's a licensed version. It's just make it to some of the 8-bits, but I don't think it ever really got the popularity it deserved. Yeah, Jungler is one of those Konami classics of the period. I mean, they did put out Frogger, games like that. Locomotion, if you like your sliding puzzle games. Well, they got Spectrum port too. I know it did get 8-bit ports, but even then, people don't seem to know about it much. But yeah, I don't think Jungler's going to be there. It's not on the list. Jungle Hunt's on the list, in fact. Yeah, Jungler's not on the list, but Jungle Hunt is on the list. What is the set name? Jungle H. We want the other view. Yeah, there's going to be a Jungle Hunt there. Last time we got a jump scare on the screen, didn't we? So let's turn this down a little bit. This is quite quiet. It's too quiet, isn't it? There we go. So, Jungle Hunt, not Jungle King, but they are the same game, as is Pirate Pete essentially. For legal reasons, various things were changed in the game, including removal of the Tarzan screen. Panel Dupont, sorry. Okay, so Panel Dupont, not Puzzle Dupont. I like Puzzle Dupont, but Panel Dupont, yeah. I think I played Panel Dupont on another stream, didn't I? Oh well. Let's go swimming. Have a section with very short range attack. And I helplessly float to the surface. This section is surprisingly difficult because your attack has such a short range. I am murdering innocent crocodiles.
that's what the jungle's all about. That is how you survive in a jungle. Uh-oh. Ooh, that was kind of lucky. I did better the first time. I'm trying to rush it. Let's get back to murdering crocodiles in a second. Yeah, Tetris Attack. I can never get used to being called Tetris Attack though, because it's got nothing to do with Tetris. Panel de Pon, I associate more with the game than Tetris Attack. Games with rope swings in. You don't even swing. You don't even have control of the swing of the rope in this. It's just a timing thing. You wonder if Adventure Canoe was tested with Jungle King. It is possible it was one of those one or the other choice if they were around the same time. Which jungle-y game shall we go with? Attack a fraction too early and you will be vulnerable. Yes. I like the colour scheme in this. Lots of pastels. I was killed by the very first croc. Yes, Bob. I'm gonna say until you arrived I was doing absolutely fine on all these games, but that would be a lie. I've been consistently bad for every game on every stream I've ever done. I expect nothing less. I can get in the water from here, can't I? Yes. Right, I'm gonna get my revenge crocs. Pepper was tested with camel try. Ouch, I'm not surprised it didn't pass the location test. An Aussie guy. It looked like a much older game. Yes, I was trying to stab the couples. Oxygen. I thought I stabbed that crocodile. Anyway, looks like we won't be seeing any more Jungle Hunt. What else is there? They're gonna have a Point Blank, but I'm not very good at. They're gonna have a Primal Rage. They're gonna have a game that really does not work very well in MAME. Primal Rage has lots of protection issues. They're going to have a Stargate and a Defender. That's surprising. Auto Combat 3. A Virtual Cop 3. An Outrun. A Play Choice 10 cabinet. Doesn't say what's in it though. Monkey Ball. That should be a fun one. Mechanized Attack. Another good game. Both Lethal Enforcers games are on the list. Clax. Hypersports. That's going to get a hammering. Gunblade New York. Another good game. They have quite a selection of good games. Gauntlet 2. They had Gauntlet 2 the other year, and most of the time it was crashing. It was just showing corrupt mazes. I don't know quite what was wrong with it, but it was rather broken. We can have a quick look at Gauntlet 2 in MAME. Not the best game without multiple players, but hopefully the Gauntlet 2 will be working a bit better this year. But who knows? It kind of reminds me of when MAME's C-chip emulation broke, and game would just do weird stuff. I guess if the hardware is malfunctioning, the C-chip might be thinking it's a copy board and a bootleg board,
and intentionally breaking the game. That's one of the problems with anti-tamper copy protection. It can end up turning a simple hardware failure that might not be fatal into one that completely breaks the game because it thinks that the machine's been tampered with rather than just having a slight fault. Gauntlet's one of those constant draining health games where you really need 4 players, and yes, you're losing health all the time. It means it's a bit of a coin muncher. And then it's too easy to shoot the food, which we constantly remind you that you've done. Look, I'm being swarmed. Well, I want to go to level 6. There we go. You wish Pepple was released. It looks interesting. Also, the board is converting epoxy. I mean, from what we've seen before, European location tests seem to be the ones that got converted in epoxy. So maybe it was tested in Europe. Well, it's one of those levels with invisible walls, isn't it? So that's exactly what we want. Hello, invisible walls. Use so much invisible walls. Everybody wants invisible walls, said nobody ever. Sometimes stump like great. Yet super sorcerer or lose health. Yes, super sorcerer die. Void acid, yes. You lose health, you lose health. Yay, food. You got health. Right, magic potion, 4 pressing magic. Yes, yes, yes. Food. Come on, let's get to the exit.
Red Wizard, your life force is running out.
Yes, I know. Get rid of this, out of this. Yeah, okay.
Welcome, Red Wizard.
You seriously spawn me back there. It really has spawned me back at the start of the level, doesn't it? I think I can see why people prefer the original Gauntlet. I mean, okay, I did walk straight to level 6, but nobody wants invisible walls. Dandy was a home game, wasn't it? That was Data East. Use magic to kill death. I don't have any magic. Oh, I've got an exit down here. Gauntlet 2. I don't like Gauntlet in the first place. I know it's a super popular game, but I've never liked it. I still don't like it.
Don't shoot food.
You know, doing stuff like this doesn't help my opinion. I mean, this is the same level, but it's flipped around. At least we've got walls now. So, I know this game has its fans, and I know technically it's quite impressive. There's lots of enemies moving around all at once, but I think I'd rather play a home version where it's a little less, oh, give me more money, give me more money. In terms of Gauntlet type games, one of my favourites is Ranorama, which was on the home systems, the one where you're like a frog. And of course Druid, which people say is a Gauntlet-like game, but really isn't. I quite like that, but not because it's like Gauntlet, even though people say it's like Gauntlet. Stupid health drain things there, and everything is draining your health all the time. This is just health drain the game.
Red Wizard, your life force is running out.
Yeah.
Welcome, Red Valkyrie.
Okay, I can be Valkyrie. Yeah, just...
Ow.
Now I've got different speech. I don't know. I guess if you wanted a game that was like a Dungeons and Dragons type adventure back then, and you've got 3 friends to play it with, and lots of coins, sure. I just don't get the appeal of this one. But that might just be me. Mashing buttons to kill enemies. Mash, mash, mash. Don't mash because...
Ow.
I don't know. To me, this is not Atari's finest game, but a lot of people love the Gauntlet games, so...
Oh.
What's the fun in just being mobbed by things the whole time?
Oh. Ow.
And, you know, coming across these enemies that you really can't kill and just have to run away from. They're running down to a dead end
Oh.
I mean, I can just insert more coins right now. If I insert coins before I actually die, you see, I don't have to restart the level. Look, you know, it's like early microtransaction. You keep inserting coins to get more health. I don't know. Never really understood the appeal of this one. So I think we'll turn Gauntlet 2 off, to be honest. It's not what I'm playing. I might play Dig Dug. Apparently there's going to be this thing here. It's going to be one of these. Excuse MAME emulation. Right, games assignments. Single. Yeah. So, let's go with Daytona. Classic game. I'll probably give this one a credit.
Gentlemen, start your engine.
So, MAME's still a bit glitchy with this, but
And they're underway.
I think my controls are not calibrated either. The Dig Dug Italian version is slightly harder. It doesn't surprise me. Games often got strange tweaks. I don't think the Italian version is going to be the version that's there. I mean, it's possible. So. But anything that doesn't have Dig Dug, don't know. I don't personally have a Dig Dug cabinet in my garage. But, yeah. A few graphical fixes and co-processor fixes. A lot of these Model 2 games would be pretty much spot on. It's just a shame that the remaining problems with them are quite difficult to fix. They're going to crash.
yeah, I mean, Daytona. I don't think it's going to be like a multiplayer 8 cabinet setup or whatever it is. But there should be a single unit there to play at least. It doesn't say it's a multi-cabinet or a twin or anything else. I'm assuming it's going to be a single unit. I'm assuming if I play it down, we'll do just as badly as this. Oops. Will I make it? Probably not. Probably not. The Master System doesn't have Digged Up. You're probably right. I don't remember being Digged Up on it. Was Digged Up on any Sega systems? I mean, there was no Mega Drive Digged Up. That was a bit late. I don't think there's a Game Gear Digged Up. Was there an SG-1000 Digged Up? Don't know. Well, that was Daytona. Now, is it worth doing one last game before we call it quits? They're going to have Blasteroids again. The Blasteroids is the game you can glitch out by not warping, which is a very strange bug to have let through testing, but I did test it on the real cabinet last year, and you can glitch it out just the same as you can in MAME. They're going to have a Moonwalker, a Missile Command, a Pac-Mania. In fact, that's probably a good way to finish the stream, isn't it? With a Pac-Mania. There's MSX Dig Dug. Right. Let's go to round 4. Just to keep the challenge up from the start. These are jumping ghosts. Be careful with these ghosts. They negate any benefit your jump ability gives you, which is probably for the best, because otherwise you could spend the whole game jumping over ghosts. Or just, going straight into them. I still never really found this one to be as good as the original Pac-Man. The original, it loses that whole hogging the corners feel to it, and because it's isometric, you can think you can go down somewhere, but you've already passed the opportunity. I mean, once you pass that state point there, you can't go down, even though Pac-Man looks like he should really be able to go down. I get what they're trying to do, but I think it hinders the gameplay a little bit. You love Pac-Mania though, System 11. I mean, that wasn't the best play of Pac-Mania. I can appreciate what they're trying to do with it. And I suppose if you get used to the cornering, I mean, the tighter levels like this work better. It's more obvious where the corners are. That other level, because the play area was wide, but you're still really moving along the same space, just felt off. It was very easy to go past where you wanted to turn and not realise it. So yeah, the theme of this level works a lot better than the theme of the one I was just playing. Still, you don't seem to hog the corners in the same way as Pac-Man. Definitely looks the part though. Very nice to see. See the way they've drawn this world. Stylish. Japanese version of Pac-Mania. Interesting. It's not a case of they're meant to be different graphics ROMs on the Japanese version that aren't done, is it? Because that's been a thing in the past. Namco did not always use the same graphics ROMs on export games. I mean, see Final Lap. Have I summoned Cow by saying Final Lap? I don't know. But yeah, the export versions of Final Lap use different graphics ROMs. So I don't know. I'll have to have a look at that at some point, Aussie guy. So, don't rule out things, bad assumptions being made in the past. Although, just seem more likely it's just an emulation glitch. Aren't the FPGA guys doing Namco System 1? Interesting to see if they end up with the same issues. The Spectrum port of this is quite interesting because it uses a combination of the AY on the 1 to 8 models and the beeper sounds for picking up the dots, which if you play it on a CPC, you just end up with the AY sounds, so you lose the game sound effects, which doesn't feel right. Funkies at play, be careful of jumping monsters. And now back here with this level. And I went too close to the ghost or the monster. They don't call them ghosts, do they? They call them monsters. They call them ghosts now, but at what point do they officially become ghosts? They don't give you all wheel flies. They're just monsters, aren't they? But you can jump over that one successfully. You're surprised to find the Japanese version has a different stage order. That surprises me too, actually. I seem to remember it being easy to jump over the ghosts, but it's been a long time. They look more like monsters. You have now become a Pac-Maniac. I mean, if you insist. So, there we go. Pac-Man's running up there. Yet in the game, he has no legs. I don't know. The ghost monsters in the 80s cartoon, I think they're clearly ghost-like figures. I don't know. I always find the first stage to be too easy. If you select the first stage, it makes the credit last too long. You know, the first stage here, easy, Blocktown, it's very, very slow paced. And it just feels like it lasts too long. It does have the classic music, but this is just such an easy stage that it means that anybody playing it's going to play it for too long. So what is the Japanese version? Let's have a quick. Maybe the Japanese version is even easier. We'll see. Usually it's the American versions that end up harder. So is this the super easy stage? This feels even slower. But I don't know. It's just feel very slow. This one that's got a... I thought it had a level select dip switch. This one doesn't have level select at all, does it? It didn't offer me a level select. It doesn't... There's an option. Turn it on. Game end. Where do I want the game to end? Continue brightness. Normal or high? Ooh. No, that doesn't let you do anything. Maybe it's the American one that lets you, or the export one that lets you turn it off. select off, yeah. Oh yeah, this doesn't have as many rounds because the other one you could go up to 33. So this is the shorter game. The American version, the export version, is the shorter game apparently. Yeah, you can turn the select off in there, which. Yeah, they changed it around a bit, didn't they? So could be there's. I wonder. We were talking about the Pac-Mania being glitchy, weren't you? Maybe the Japanese version is meant to use a different ROM or something. I really don't know. I really don't know. But anyway, so that was a bit of Pac-Mania. So there's a Spy Hunter though as well. I just noticed that, and a Street Fighter 2, and a Tron. So yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to giving some of these games a try. And they say there might be some that aren't listed. They had a Berserk and Frenzy in the previous year. If they've got that again, I'll give it a play, but it's not on the list this time. Well, yeah, there's a good selection. So some of the cams are a little beat up, but plenty of them are fully playable and rather enjoyable. So when I'm not up there talking about weird games on the Sunday, I will be around the floor playing some of the games, playing some of the old computers, and just chatting with anybody who wants to come and have a chat, really. So, yeah, I think that for this stream is it, though. In Japanese version, that selections of continue. So yes, thank you for everybody for being here, and I do want to do a handheld game stream at some point, the Game & Watch and stuff like that. I think I originally said on Twitter that I was going to do that as a next stream, but then the play announcement was made, so I thought, I'll have a look at some of the games that play and some of the main bug fixes. I don't think I'll be able to squeeze that in before Play Expo because I've got a fair bit of preparation to do, which I've been getting on with today, but I think I need to do a bit more, so I'm ready. But once I'm back, I will be trying to do a stream and talk about some of the experiences. If there's any random console or computer games that I play that I've never played before, I may try and see if they run in MAME and play those like I did last year. So I played some random was it PC 98, PC 88 shooter. So yeah, I will be away for the weekend and back late on the Monday. So take care, everybody. And thank you for all. And yeah, I'll try and have fun, Bob. Good to see you drop by, even if it was just the end of the stream. But I know time zones are a thing. So anyway, good to see you. And nice to know you're still around and in the MAME scene somewhat. And thank you too, Gozzy Guy. Thank you. And thank you, System 11. And especially thank you, System 11, for getting some of those boards dumped, because they did make they gave us something to show at the start. And of course, thank you to the people who have been working on the NMK stuff and getting those dumped. I don't know if you're lurking in the chat or not, but thank you for your work on getting those MCUs dumped, which has allowed the protection simulations to be replaced. And yeah, thank you, everybody. And I will catch you when I next do a stream. And I'm not currently sure when that will be, but say after Play Expo.